Thanks for visiting our channel again. Richard Dean Anderson has become an iconic figure on television, a name that conjures images of brilliance, intelligence, and a hero who could get by without weapons. The iconic figure he brought to life as Angus MacGyver resonated with audiences around the globe. But had his life really been a promenade to stardom and fortune? Assumptions, falsehoods, legends. I don't need to explain anything to you. Things like glistening eyes, cliché actions, malevolence, etc. A man who has suffered setbacks, endured immense strain, and made difficult choices hides beneath the heroic exterior. Unimaginable sacrifices lie behind each iconic episode, like Stargate SG-1 or MacGyver. He has been physically and mentally scarred by the years spent working nonstop on set, as well as by the stress of the spotlight and whatever injuries he may have had. In the midst of his brilliant career, Richard Dean Anderson faced a decision: stay at the pinnacle of his success or devote his life to his family. The second option is riskier, yet he went with it nevertheless. When he was at the peak of his fame, what motivated him? To leave the glitter of Hollywood behind and welcome the simplicity of existence. Come with us as we explore Richard Dean Anderson's dramatic and emotionally charged journey. An epic tale of family love, devotion, and sacrifice told through the eyes of a television icon. An inspiring storyline that will elevate him to the level of a remarkable human being rather than just an accomplished actor. Rich Dean Anderson was born on January 23, 1950, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, into a family that held strong conventional values. His mom, Jocelyn Ray Carter, had a natural talent for painting and sculpture, while his dad, Stuart J. Anderson, was a teacher. Richard, whose ancestry is mixed with Scandinavian and Irish influences, received the imaginative and sensitive side of his mother as well as the discipline of his father. Sports were a constant in Richard's life from a young age, especially hockey. He put in endless hours on the ice, practicing relentlessly, with the goal of becoming a professional athlete and reaching the peak of his sport. But destiny had different intentions for the little lad. His aim was dashed when he was a teenager due to two serious injuries. Richard had to face the unfortunate truth that hockey was no longer an option after breaking both arms in a matter of weeks. Ignoring the agony, this turning point in my life unlocked a new opportunity. Richard, ever the fighter, shifted his attention to the performing arts. In order to give his budding interest more attention, he transferred from St. Cloud State University to Ohio University. It was there that he started working on his acting chops, the first of many steps toward his eventual stardom. Richard aspired to greater things after finishing college. He hoped to discover better chances in Los Angeles, so he left the high-pressure environment of New York. He performed everything from street acts to cabaret shows inspired by the Renaissance in order to make ends meet in Los Angeles. One of his peculiar jobs at Marineland was to lure whales to jump by holding fish in his mouth. The early going was tough, but the lessons learned were priceless, coaching him to be resilient and patient. After working odd jobs and in supporting parts for a while, Richard finally broke through. His role as Dr. Jeff Weber on General Hospital was a major break. This part may not have been his career high point, but it did introduce him to television viewers. He became a household name on television thanks to his stunning good looks, magnetic stage presence, and natural acting chops. While Richard had already achieved notoriety prior to 1985, his breakout role came when he played Angus MacGyver in the smash TV series MacGyver. MacGyver was more than a TV show. It was a major cultural force in the 80s and 90s. With his brilliant and imaginative performance as Angus MacGyver, Richard revolutionized the concept of a television hero. MacGyver, played by Richard, was unlike any other action hero of the day. Instead of using violence and weapons, MacGyver relied on his wits, compassion, and resourcefulness to solve issues. His ingenuity astounded viewers with every episode, whether he was using a paperclip to crack a lock or turning a pencil into an indispensable tool. Richard made the character believable and approachable, which struck a chord with viewers, in addition to his wit and problem-solving skills. The compelling message that MacGyver communicated was just as important as the creative situations that it portrayed. Keep your cool and think logically, and you'll find a solution to every problem you face in life. Thanks to this philosophy, the show became a worldwide phenomenon, beloved by viewers all over the world and not just in the US. The success of MacGyver, in Richard's opinion, was down to more than just playing a compelling role. He made MacGyver more than just a fictitious hero. He became an icon of imagination and kindness. Fans came to view MacGyver as more than just a TV hero thanks to his effortless acting and unwavering commitment to the role. Everyday life became a true wellspring of inspiration because of him. Richard was nominated for multiple awards for his role as Angus MacGyver, one of which being the People's Choice Award for Favorite Male TV Performer. This part solidified his status as a cherished figure in the hearts of millions of people throughout the globe. After MacGyver ended in 1992, many wondered if Richard could ever recover from playing such a legendary character. However, he stunned viewers once more a few years later in the role of Stargate SG-1's Colonel Jack O'Neill. Strength, leadership, and devotion were embodied by Jack O'Neill, while MacGyver stood for intelligence and tranquility. Richard added great emotional depth to Stargate SG-1, in addition to charm and wit. Richard gave a very realistic and nuanced performance as Jack O'Neill, a war veteran who had suffered his fair share of losses and wounds. O'Neill went on to become one of the most iconic characters in science fiction. Stargate SG-1 went beyond the typical action series by exploring deep moral themes, human nature, and the significance of sacrifice. The show's adept and perceptive portrayal of the character by Richard allowed it to strike an ideal mix between lightheartedness and serious philosophical exploration. Richard Dean Anderson has a much longer list of memorable roles to add to his resume. Legend and the special MacGyver movie are only two examples of his diverse work. He went above and beyond as a producer, helping to craft groundbreaking episodes that pushed the limit of imagination. As with Stargate SG-1, Richard made his imprint there as well, receiving recognition at a number of science fiction gatherings and award shows, including as the Saturn Awards. Fans will always adore the show, and many consider individual episodes to be landmarks in the genre's rich history of television science fiction. Not only did Richard get official accolades for his groundbreaking roles, but he was also acknowledged for the significant impact he had on popular culture. He achieved something that very few performers do: cement his position as one of the most iconic television characters of all time with his performance as Angus MacGyver. In 2017, he was presented with the Golden Boot Award, a prestigious recognition for his immense impact on the television entertainment industry. Richard Dean Anderson may not have amassed a plethora of audience-appreciated golden statues, but his lasting personalities are his greatest accomplishment. Symbols with very good intentions that serve to amuse, motivate, and communicate. Richard Dean Anderson, who had become a television icon after decades in the limelight, made a surprising move. At the height of his career, he decided to walk away. This choice wasn't the last chapter for Richard. Rather, it marked a turning point in his quest for deeper meaning in life. It wasn't because of dwindling interest or quality that MacGyver ended in 1992. Contrarily, MacGyver continued to be a beloved cultural phenomenon with viewers all around the globe. Richard, though, decided it was time to wrap off Angus MacGyver's story after 7 years on screen. He aspired to depart with a sense of accomplishment, honoring the legacy of a hero whose strength came from inside, not from armies of soldiers. Both his self-respect and his appreciation for the character's devoted fan base were evident in this decision. With the introduction of Stargate SG-1 in 1997, Richard achieved yet another professional high point in his role as Colonel Jack O'Neill. But he started to distance himself from the series around Season 8 for reasons related to his personal life. Wiley Quinn Enrose Anderson, his daughter, was fairly little when this happened. Spending time with his daughter throughout her formative years was the most essential thing to Richard, a dedicated father. The temptation of the spotlight, he revealed, paled in contrast to the priorities he now has as a father. A big part of Richard's decision to leave acting was due to the physical demands and constant filming schedules. Action scenes were a big part of his performances in Stargate SG-1 and MacGyver, usually for quite a while. It became more difficult to keep up the same level of dedication when these strenuous performances caused injuries. Furthermore, Richard turned down offers to be a consultant or make a cameo appearance in the 2016 MacGyver revival. He made his case very well. The idea that the new version of the character would be faithful to the original was foreign to him. Richard was worried that his participation would give the impression to fans that he supported changes with which he disagreed. This choice demonstrated his honesty and dedication to the fans who had stuck with him through thick and thin. Richard Dean Anderson's departure from acting marked the start of a fresh chapter in his life, rather than its conclusion. Priorities such as family, health, and personal serenity were his center of attention. Fans still hold him in high esteem, and not only because of his memorable roles. They also admire his life and the impact he has had when he was out of the spotlight. In addition to being a television legend, Richard Dean Anderson is a genuine guy who loves his family very much. Although his private life has remained mostly undisclosed, it reveals the tale of a kind parent and a spirit searching for serenity in the glitter of Hollywood. Multiple famous people, including Terry Hatcher, Laura Flynn Boyle, Selma Ward, and German figure skater Katharina Witt, were romantically involved with Richard during his youth and middle years. But the most talked about part of his 1996 to 1998 romance was with April Eprose. New York City-based Stargate and MacGyver producer Michael Greenberg introduced Richard to April through a common acquaintance. Wiley Quinn and Rose was born to Richard and his wife during their joyful time together on August 2, 1998, at the age of 48. They did not get married despite having a child together. Richard said, "Unless April and I decide otherwise before then," in response to a question about whether or not they will formalize their relationship in an interview conducted in March 1999. Both Richard's outlook on life and his decision to step away from the spotlight were profoundly affected by Wiley's presence. Having a family was Richard's top priority, he said at one point. From the time Wiley took her first steps to the milestones she reached along the way, he wanted to be there for every precious second of her childhood. Richard opted to calm down from a life consumed by the fast-paced schedules of Hollywood. He uprooted to a peaceful California ranch to be closer to his daughter and to relish in the little things in life. He cherishes the memory of early nature walks, warm family dinners, and short vacation adventures. Richard is an insightful and appreciative person who is also a dedicated father. He remains deeply connected to his family, particularly his mother Jocelyn Ray Carter, whom he regards as his life's biggest source of creative inspiration. Despite his meteoric rise to stardom, Richard has maintained an air of modesty and avoided the drama that accompanies the entertainment industry. Richard finds solace and strength in the harmony he has established with his loved ones, which allows him to seize each day to the fullest. He is uninterested in fame and fortune and instead concentrates on what is important in life: well-being, peace of mind, and family. For Richard, nothing beats spending time with his loved ones. They bring him so much joy and serve as an inspiration. From time to time, Richard takes part in events and fan conventions, where he meets fans again and reminisces about his career. The motivation for these visits is not financial gain, but rather a chance for him to show his appreciation to the followers who have been there for him all along. In addition to his unforgettable performances, Richard Dean Anderson has made an everlasting impression on audiences and pop culture with his legendary parts. His works, which range from Stargate SG-1 to MacGyver, go beyond mere entertainment by conveying profound lessons about compassion, creativity, and the ability to overcome obstacles. Richard revolutionized the idea of a hero with MacGyver, someone who relies on brainpower and creativity rather than brute force or weaponry. Introducing a one-of-a-kind character whose influence extended far beyond the realm of cinema. This portrayal enchanted millions. The phrase MacGyverism became commonplace, representing resourceful approaches to problems that make use of commonplace objects. Beyond the realm of television, MacGyver had a profound impact. A wide variety of viewers, from young fans to engineers and scientists, have expressed gratitude to the character for encouraging them to think outside the box and come up with innovative ideas. MacGyver's method of fixing problems has become a cultural icon, cementing the show's place in popular consciousness. Richard was already a household name before he landed the role of Colonel Jack O'Neill on Stargate SG-1. In addition to receiving critical praise, the series created a devoted following that has continued to grow over the years. The success of Stargate SG-1 fan sites, groups, and events is a testament to the show's and his character's lasting popularity. In addition to his success in the acting world, Richard Dean Anderson has a long history of volunteer work and philanthropic giving. He believes wholeheartedly in the mission of the Waterkeeper Alliance, an international organization fighting for the preservation of fresh water and ecological harmony. Richard has used his platform to advocate for a more sustainable society and bring attention to the issue. Richard Dean Anderson has left an indelible mark on film, culture, and charity, encouraging audiences of all ages to follow in his footsteps and be generous, innovative, and creative. He is committed to more than just environmental issues. He has invested time and energy into larger humanitarian endeavors, helping communities and encouraging good change. Richard Dean Anderson's net worth is estimated at around $30 million, which is amazing considering the length of his career. The popularity of MacGyver and Stargate SG-1, together with advertising deals and production jobs in TV shows, have contributed significantly to his riches. Among Richard's valuable real estate holdings is a Malibu mansion that pays homage to his Minnesota heritage with its classic design. He and his family call this expansive property with ocean views home, and it stands as a monument to his austerity and profound bond with nature. His astute business decisions and exquisite taste are on display in the rumored $10 million mansion. Not only does Richard own a Malibu residence, but he also has houses in Minnesota and Vancouver, Canada, as well as a condominium in Laguna Woods, California. These possessions demonstrate not just his monetary success, but also his long-held desire for a manner of living that is in harmony with the natural world. Financial success and acting roles are not the only indicators of Richard Dean Anderson's success. The fact that he changed the face of the archetypal television hero and served as an inspiration to many is his greatest achievement. From the kind, smart Angus MacGyver to the tough, humorous Colonel Jack O'Neill, all of his roles have become cultural icons, standing for more than simply humor and optimism. Richard Dean Anderson summed up the ideal artist, one who devotes themselves to their work while also caring about the world at large, through the principles he portrayed in each part. His impact on audiences will last a lifetime as an emblem of wisdom, honesty, and kindness. Have you any opinions on Richard Dean Anderson's motivational story? Does the tale of his life or his classic roles have any impact on you? Feel free to provide your opinions in the space provided. Follow our channel to learn the fascinating backstories of other great people, and if you enjoyed this kind of content, you will find many more like it. Please subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss any of our future thrilling material.